Coming from Sheffield High School today on YouTube with me and my good friend Arif and my good friend Afroz. We're going to be talking about how to disassemble a computer, put everything back together and show you briefly what each part does. So if you just come over here.
Okay, here we are, we've unscrewed the screws and so we just pull here and it comes off like that.
Okay, just pan it off as well because you may need it at some point to get rid of the hard drive. I mean to take the hard drive out.
You can see the main parts of the computer. First thing we're going to do is unscrew the CPU fan. So we're using a flathead here and we'll turn it the way the arrow points. So now we will unscrew them all. We just pull here gently and disconnect.
Well, first, let's see this shape thing. It looks a bit like a paper clip, and you just pull it out and push it up, and then you get it from here, and you push this up.
So now we're going to be taking out the hard drive, and to take it out, you have to undo two of these screws here. So now, once the screws have been removed, you just have to undo the SATA cable, and to do that, there's a little clip that you have to push down, and you can pull that out, and that powers the drive from the motherboard. And here's the SATA cable from the power supply. You need to unplug this. Gently comes out, and you can safely remove it. Be sure not to touch the PCB at the bottom. Just touch the metal bit at the top, and you can just easily take it out. Taking out the Blu-ray, the CD, DVD burner that some computers may have, or in other words, an optical drive. To take this out, there's two screws here, and you have to disconnect these SATA ports, as shown before for the hard drive. And you can take it out from this way. You push it outwards from the case and you pull it out. Power supply. And to do this, you need to unplug a few cables before you can start unscrewing things. You unplug this 20+4 pin ATX CPU motherboard connector. There's a little notch, you just push on it and it comes out. And then you can unplug the 4 pin or 8 pin CPU out. And next you can unscrew the power supply from the 4 screws here. Power supply out, you have to take out this fan here. So to do that, there's 4 screws located at the back of the case. Unscrew this. You can safely take out the power supply with the fan. So this is a little clip here. Under some next connector, you can take that out and you can pull this out.
You need to pull back these 2 tabs.
Just take out the SATA cable, and it has a little connector like it did on the hard drive and the optical drive. Just pushing it and you can pull it out, and you can do the same thing for the other one. Now at the part where I want to show you what all these parts do. So basically this is a mechanical hard drive. It's a 3.5 inch hard drive. It's a 160 gig, and this is your storage, where you can store your operating system, files, music, pictures, videos, all that kind of things. And then over here is your sticker RAM. You can either have single memory, dual memory, triple, quad, and this is just one stick. This is 4 gigs a piece, and this goes onto the motherboard. This is random access memory, like if you need to open heavy programs and such, and it stores data temporarily to the hard drive. This right here is the CPU, Central Processing Unit, the brain of the computer, and basically you want to hold it by the edges, not by the bottom or the top, because at the bottom there's connectivity points and you have oils in your fingers, and if you touch them points then the CPU may not work well with the motherboard. And the CPU is measured at gigahertz. That's how fast the computer can travel and how fast the computer can operate. So basically this tells the computer what to do and such. Over here is the CPU heatsink fan, which plugs on. There's a CPU socket, and then this plug goes over the CPU to keep it nice and cool so nothing overheats. Over here is the power supply with an extra fan. The power supply basically is one large unit, but it's separated into different cables. Like this is your 20 pin that powers the motherboard. Here's your 4 pin CPU header, hard drives, it powers LEDs, stuff like that. This is a SATA cable which uses to plug in from your optical drive to your Blu-ray drive, optical drive, or Blu-ray drive, or hard drive to your motherboard. And lastly, this is your optical drive. This is a CD drive to put CDs in to install Windows, to videos and such. Now, a couple may couple of people may be asking about static, and that's a very big thing to happen. And if you live in a dry country where there's not a lot of rain and such, and you frequently get shocked when you touch something, then you need to invest in an electrostatic strap, which is a clip. It's a strap, and you plug it in, you clip it onto something metal such as the case, and like static components that can be static shock, as the RAM, CPU, and the motherboard. And people take into account that you have to hold it by the edges and not touch the circuit boards or the bottom bit down here, or the CPU and the underside of the CPU. So you don't electrostatic, if you have a charge on you, so it doesn't discharge to the component. Back to here, the first thing that we're going to install is the CPU. So to do that, you have to, the same thing as you took it out, you push down and away, and then up. Then you lift this tab up. Then you do not want to touch any of those pins. They're very delicate. If you miss one pin, you just wreck the whole thing. There's little notches. There's little, I don't think you can see that very well, but there's little notches on the CPU which are put out on the CPU socket. So it only goes in one way. Bear in mind, when you do install it the right way, and you push it down, you will have some force. That means that is perfectly normal, and just beat the force and just put it under that top. Now to install the CPU fan, which is essential on every computer, you just put it over the CPU like that, make sure all the tabs line up. You turn them and you click them in. Once you put the CPU fan in, as you can see it's in, you need to plug in, make sure you plug in the CPU fan. And if you can see, it has little grooves on it, so it only goes in one way. And once that's in, you can install the memory. And to install the memory, it's pretty much the same way as we took it out. Pull the tabs back, you grab the memory. Be sure to hold it by the edges because this memory does not have a heat shield. And then you line up the notch with the notch on the RAM socket, like there. So, and you just plug it in. And you just slide it in, and over here there's two screw holes where you have to screw, and there's two on the other side. Put the Blu-ray drive, DVD drive, optical drive in. You have to come from inside the case, and basically you have to slide it in until it's flush with the case. And then you have to screw it in here and on the other side. Power supply. You have to put the power supply in and to push it up a bit so the screw holes line up with the holes cut out here. You have to line it up with the holes here from inside the case like this. And then basically it should just come out the holes like that. And then it's ready to install the screws. So to connect up, the last thing we need to do is connect up all the cables, and to do that, just move this out of the way first. Connect the power supply cables up to the hard drive and the CD drive. So the CD drive, you've got the connector here, and you line it up, and you plug it in. It only goes in one way. And you do the same thing for the hard drive. So you just find the cable, and then you plug it in, as it only plugs in one way. And the last two cables I'm going to show you is this 20 plus 4 pin that powers everything on the motherboard. It's a big connector and it has a little notch here, so it only goes in one way. Has a little tab here. You plug it in and you should hear a click. And you plug in this. And the last pin, the last connector is the supplemental 4 pin for CPU power. It plugs into that little connector there. Only goes in one way, and you just plug it in like this. And you should hear a click, and that's how you install cables. The very last cable is connecting up the data cables, the SATA cables to the hard drive. It should look like this. Well, you should know that one is cornered L-shaped. Just say, for example, if you so it doesn't bend, so you have to use that one wisely. So what you need to do is connect it up like this, and it should click. And you do the same thing. You do the same thing for the hard drive. And then you connect it up to the motherboard. You connect it up to the motherboard, as shown here. And that's all there is to. The last thing you need to do when building a computer or putting a computer back together is turn the side panels back on. It's best to lay the computer lying down to do this. And you just put this side panel in like this, you line it up, and you just slide to the right. And then on the back here, there's 2 screws that you have to screw in. Down there. Do that. Like this. You put it in and you slide to the left, and then you screw the 2 holes. Screw 2 screws into the hole. As you can see, the computer is successfully booked. It's gonna boot. And it makes that beep sound. Please check out more of our videos and please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thanks.